Alright, we get back on our Sportster project here. So I got the two rocker boxes all cleaned up here, so I got as much as oil deposits out of here as I can get, and polishing grit or whatever else is in these things. So they're cleaned up. So I've already previously moved out the rocker arms, which in previous videos. So these are the extra shafts we're not using. I swapped out the shafts. So make sure you get all your parts lined up here to use. So then stacked up around here, trying to lose it. There's our washers. So you know there's four, you need four of everything. There we go, looks like we got four of everything here. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4. And of course you got 4 and 4 of those. We only got two rocker boxes though, so there's only 2 of them. Alright, so there we go. It looks like I'm going to have a screwdriver bit to work these. Put these on, so I need to go find that also. So that's going to be in my toolbox. I assume I put it away, because it's been a month or so since I've done this probably. It is not here. Normally there's a big screwdriver bit sitting right about in that spot. Alright, that means it is out someplace. Probably right here. That looks like the one we're looking for. So that goes right in there like that, so you don't tear it up too much when you put it in. Okay, we use an impact driver to put that in with. I suppose that's laying around here. Yep, there it is. There it is. And I'm going to need the adapter, which is in this tool, to adapt it over to it. Alright, give me all the stuff we need. Alright. Protect the polish, we put a rag down. And of course, phone rings with a shocker. Hello? Yes? Looking away. Alright, we're back. Where did I leave off? Okay, rock arms. Okay, we got 2 rocker arms with no holes, and we got 2 rocker arms with holes. So the exhaust get the holes. So you gotta figure out where the exhaust is on your box. So if you don't know, the oil line up here is for the intake. So that's the exhaust. Like that. If you notice, I put them on wrong. Because the rock arms aren't here, they're over here. So that means we need to change these out to the other set. There we go. Intake, no hole, exhaust hole, rocker tip going the correct direction to work here on your box. Same on that one. Okay, so now we got that all figured out. Yeah, it's very important you do it right too. Okay, these are individually fitted because they're all rebuilt. Nice and good round bushings that have all those serrations in there like they did before. From the chatter marks and the reamer, when they reamed them, they're nice and tight. Just barely hear the clearance. And nice and go in nice and out. When they don't go in and out easy, they're too tight. If you get them lined up though. Of course that one's fighting me. See? Spoke too soon. There you go. Alright, so now I'm going to pre-lube everything. Okay, on a Sportster we have a washer and a spring. So the washer goes against the box, and the spring goes between the washer and the rocker arm. So it just rubs right against there, and there's no adjustment because it's spring loaded. Chevrolet, they put a spacer in there. For racing, I put solid space in there too and take the spring out. Alright. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil on everything here. So you start with the inside of the rocker bush. Make sure you get oil in there. Make sure you get oil inside the bushing where it belongs. A little bit on the side here doesn't hurt. Do that for each one of them. So you don't take, it takes a while to get oil pressure on these bikes, so you want to make sure you got plenty of oil up in here when they start. You know, make sure you get more oil on the top of the rocker arm and not the bottom, because the pressure's on the top and ain't on the bottom. Okay. Catching my fingernail on a hole on there. I haven't broke that one off yet. It's about the only one left on my hand that ain't broken off. Okay, after you're done making a mess, you wipe off your finger. Okay, now we move on to the next one. Now we lubricate the other finger. So now we lubricate the shaft. Go like that. That's lubed. Put the rocker arm in the hole. Put the arm through it. Grab your spring and your washer and just squeeze them together and stuff them in there. Put them together. Like that. See it all together. Now as you're pushing the shaft through, make sure you hold the rocker arm all the way in, so you don't want to beat on it and nick up the bushing. Because if it doesn't want to go in the hole and you keep shoving on it with a hammer, you nick the bushing. It destroys things a little bit. So the rocker shaft should be tight going inside the hole in the box, but not in the rocker arm. That one didn't want to go in there. That one don't want to go. Now wash didn't want to go in the box because it's got 2/3 of the way around. It's got a lip it has to go into, the washer. Okay, that one's tight. So you lightly tap it. I'm constantly moving the rocker arm back and forth up here, make sure it's not binding on the rocker arm. We're tightening the rocker box, not the arm. Okay, so now it's in there. The rocker arm moves nice and free, so we know we didn't screw it up. There you go. Let me hit it right there though, look at that. It's also sharp over there, trying to cut me. Dangerous bikes. These have the early 2-piece rocker shaft in them. Previously I pushed these all apart, cleaned them and Loctite them as I put them back together. And I lined up the oil gallery here with a hole that goes all the way through, so they're pretty much lined up. So it doesn't have to go through here and make a turn and go around. It's pretty much going to go straight through the whole system. Can't really see it from the inside, but I lined up the best I can. It doesn't, like I see, these early 2-piece ones, they move on you and it doesn't work too well. That's why the later design is better. A bit closer so you can see how I do this, hopefully. I have to get the rocker arm in here a little bit. So you take this and squeeze them together with your hand. Move the rocker arm up a little bit. Push the spring against the rocker arm, collapse it, push the washer down there where it belongs, and then shove the shaft through it. Wiggle everything until it kind of goes in. It goes in there nice and freely. The shaft has to line up with this hole here. It kind of self-center as it goes in. A tight one. Yep. So you want to keep this free over here. If the rocker arm gets tight after you do this, stop. You're screwing up the bushing. It's pretty tight. So we got 2 tight ones and 2 loose ones. Typical. Okay, now you just take a washer here. It's a little thin washer. That's a gasket, actually. You take your fancy nut. Fancy red nuts are hard to come by these days. I'm sure somebody's probably reproducing them by now. Doesn't want to go on there. Nope. So, is there a burr on there or something? Slightly, but not much. Just enough to be a problem. Alright, well that one does not want to go on. And pull it out. Somebody might have beat on with a hammer or something, I'm not sure. Doesn't look that bad, but it's not working either. Alright, so I'm going to go over here and do a little repair work over here. So we go up here and get our tap, or die I mean. 7/16. Fine thread, that's coarse thread. I have all my dies lined up over there. Oh, that was fine thread, okay. It look coarse. Okay, so doesn't want to go in there either. So, that was on there tight. If you spin it, it's spinning true. That means the die is going on correctly, it just doesn't want to go on. That's probably why the nut didn't want to go on either. So we put our die holder on here. Okay, let's go over here our smooth. Do my rag. Alright, a little light in here. Let's go over to our smooth jaw of ice. So we can hold our shaft. My lathe is being occupied right now, so I can't use it real quick. Just got nice smooth jaws on it, so it doesn't tear up things too bad. I'm clamping on a part of the shaft not being used. it's clamping on this part right in here. Okay, so hopefully that will work. Blow off any chips, hopefully. Chips are bad on a new motor. You don't want that to happen. You put your tools back when you're done with them. When you're down the road, you can find them again. Kind of important. Alright, so we're back over here. Okay, I'm going to wipe that off a little bit. Let's see if the nut goes on there this time. Oh, look at that. This time it works. Imagine that. Now I could have just forced the nut on there, it would have probably went on. But when you got an expensive nut like this, it's best not to destroy them if you can avoid it. There we go. Alright, getting better now. Okay, now we'll go ahead and just tighten these nuts down. So just a 5/8 socket, nothing special. Okay, you have to know to torque your tools. I know what mine are. So rocker arm goes back and forth, up and down like it's supposed to. So you want to make sure they're nice and free when you're done. Working through the travel, make sure they're not binding on anything. So they go up and down. There you go. Last thing we do is put a little oil on a tip. So well, we're not done yet, are we? Forgot something. Could have put seals on here. Getting ahead of myself. Okay, we're using a quad seal, which means it has 4 different O-ring lips. These are for your upper push rod covers on 79 to 84 Big Twin and 285 Sportster. So these are what I like to use. They work better than O-ring because the surface in here is square and these are square section. So you just put these in there, use your thumb to run them in there all the way. Make sure they go up in there correctly and not roll up. So just make sure they're pushed in. So now you got 4 different surfaces sealing on it. So these they don't leak. Anything can leak, but it takes a lot to make these leak. I'm actually pushing these into the hole so they got tension on them. So the round ones you have to squeeze them down and they don't necessarily squeeze in all the surfaces. That's why they tend to leak a little bit. If these don't work, then I use the old Ramjet white plastic ones. Those are they stick up pretty high, so when you tighten them, they got a lot of squish in them, so they plug up a lot of holes. But they also, I don't like them as much. These ones work a lot better if it's correct. The other ones kind of stick up. You got white plastic oozing out the side. They don't look too good. Okay, I see I got one of these left over. So who didn't get one? Probably the one I had to redo. Yeah, probably that one right there. loops. Now you never want to have this O-ring or this totally mounted on here tight. Pull the shaft in now because that can tear the O-ring. You always want to do it this way. Then you put this in there. Now before that goes in there, you need to lubricate it with oil. So as it tightens down, it does not tear the O-ring. So usually I just put a little bit of lubricant on the part here. And drop it on the floor too while we're at it. These are hard to hold on to because they're so thin. You put oil all over it, it doesn't help. Makes a big mess. I get dog hair all over me. I'll blow them off and clean the crap off now. Yeah. There you go. It's not lubricated with dirt and hair anymore. That's too oily of a mess. So we'll go back to plan B. Lubricate the O-ring directly. This one makes more of a mess on the outside of the box, but these thinner style ones are harder to do that way, so we're going to make it the mess this way. No matter what, you're going to get oily somehow. Okay, everything's all lubricated. Let me put the screwdriver in there. All right. Alright, that's all in there. Now we need to tighten it down with a hammer. There's a hammer impact, so it tightens up. As you beat on it, shoves it down and rotates automatically. Now you don't want to lay it directly on top of that button, it will destroy it. So we have to lay it right on this part of the box here, on the side of the table here, or workbench in this case. And then the rest of you jamming your leg because the force is past the edge of the table, it's going to try to go down like that. So it's kind of a pain in the ass to do these. But if you do it right, you don't damage anything. Wipe it all down. And it doesn't tear up the slot too bad. You're always going to get some marks in there, you can't stop that. But pretty good overall. Final check. Yep, those look good. We always go back and make sure it works when you're done. You never know, something might have happened. You have to judge how tight you're going by practice. You can also hear it and see how much it moves every time you hit it. Obviously, the harder you hit it, the more torque you're implying on the part. So, alright, now we go to the last thing I do. Put a little oil on the tip of the arm. So I don't like anything being dry, and that includes the top of your valve stem. This will also keep them from rusting too, because that is raw metal there since I ground them. There you go, all done. Flip them over like that, that'll keep the dirt out of them until you put them on. Alright, that's how you do rocker boxes. That's it for now on that one.